All right, hey, welcome back in the shop. Floor's out, transom's in, which means it's time to work on these stringers. So stay tuned because that's what we're doing. So let's take a closer look at these stringers. 3/4 inch solid wood, and just looks like one layer of woven roving going up each side and nothing on the top. And that was their demise. When they built this boat, the floor was glued directly to the top of the stringers. You can actually still see some of the glue. And they just relied on the floor staying dry to keep the stringers dry. Well, also, does not look like they did a very good job, if any, of glassing the underside of the floor. So, of course, as soon as that got wet, water creeped right in, landed on top of these stringers, and just, I mean, they're totally delaminated all the way down. They're gone. They're a mess. So obviously they're coming out. Really, I'm going to stay with the same design. So before I cut them out, I'm going to get some measurements. All right, let's see if we can highlight how I'm going to measure these out. See here, let me zoom in a second. There is a string taped to the inside of that stringer. And the reason it's on the inside is obviously the boat has a V on it. So this side is going to be lower than this side. Therefore, the stringer is going to be longer. So you want to measure off the longer one. So tape that string, run it down, tape it to the transom. These stringers back on the back are just totally gone, so I can't get a height measurement. So I ripped the 1x4, laid it on the lip of where the floor was, and pulled the string up to the bottom of that, and that's where I taped it. And you mark this line every 6 inches or so, and you start taking measurements from the line to the floor, line to the floor. Transfer all those on to your core material, move the string over to the next one, do it again, and again, and again. And of course, mark which one's left and right, port, starboard, however you want to call it. That way, should flop them back in here and they should be pretty close. Yeah, so check this nastiness out. Pulled that middle storage box out so I could measure these stringers, and it had like just a gallon of oily, nasty crud water underneath the piece of wood. Had that cover, the piece of wood under, and it was gross. So that's my toss some towels on this, and then light these on fire or something. I don't know. I don't want to put them in a trash can because they're going to be oily, but I want to get this out of the boat and get it dried up so I can go in for the night. All right, back out here in the shop. It's the next evening. I went ahead last night, pulled the measurements off that stringer, and well, what I realized honestly is I don't need the stringers here to make these measurements. As long as I have the lip of the floor that I can put this board across, and that front bulkhead as a starting point, which it's fairly solid all the way across, as long as I know where the stringers are, left to right, well, they can get out of my way, because measuring with that one in the way, it's just irritating. So I'm gonna cut them out. Let's bundle up, grab the saw, and get this going. First stringer is out. You can see the extent of the rot, just down to nothing towards the end. Still has a little bit of a bond down in that channel. I'm gonna get in there with the crowbars and kind of wedge it up. Hopefully pull the rest of this wood out in one piece. It's pretty delaminated for the most part. On the bottom, I mean. The sides obviously completely delaminated. And Saga, the blades on these, I'm using those little Milwaukee blades, and they do really well cutting the fiberglass, but they don't like to cut the wood because the teeth are so small. So you see at the end, I was pushing the fiberglass away just because it wasn't stuck to the wood at all, and it would just rip right through it. But you can tell when you hit a piece of solid wood, it would really slow down. Don't really want to use a Sawzall on these. You can, but I always worry about, you know, flinging 6-8 inch blade along, you know, it's gonna catch the floor and do more damage than I want. That's a lot more controlled, even though it might be a little slower. But anyways, pop this wood out and move to this next center one. I may pull this one out, see how the floor feels. It's braced underneath, but I may go 2 and 2, but that'll at least give me a lot more working room once I have those two cleaned out. All right, number 2 is out. You see that one went a little smoother because I, you know, kind of kicked the glass loose on each side, which didn't take much, and then pried the wood up in one piece, and then that oscillating tool just ripped through that glass in a tenth of the time of the last one. So, you know, you just gotta do it, and you just figure out what works along the way sometimes. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna leave these outside too for now. Just, I don't wanna take out too much structure. Still feels relatively solid in there, but I do have some 2x6s pretty much right in that area. So I don't wanna press my luck. Last thing I wanna do is step through the floor. Get closer to dark. I don't wanna bust out the grinder now and piss off the whole neighborhood. It's probably gonna be it for the night. Just gonna bust out the broom and vacuum clean some of this up. What is going on? Happy weekend. It is a cool and breezy day. Front just came through. It's a perfect day for grinding. So yeah, I've been out here. It's I didn't do the outside yet, obviously, because there's still stringers in the way, but the whole inside is grinded out. Gonna do that little trough here in a minute. I got the file sander out. But what I wanted to pause and show you, because this is not very interesting to watch. Shut that off. Hey, maybe you think it is interesting to watch. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a little of it on there, but it's been like 6 hours of just grinding, so I'm not filming every bit of that. Anyways, these troughs where these stringers were, uncovering a couple issues. Not horrible, but you see there are some spots where we broke through. And there's another little spot right there where it's just starting to break through. Again, looks detrimental, but it's really not. Anytime you break stringers and they're totally delaminated, this boat's gonna flex, and this is gonna happen. So this is the time to fix it, and to fix it right, not once you button it all back up and then go under the bottom and try to do it from there. So let me show you this little file sander, how I'm getting down in these grooves, because these grooves, these tracks were just so caked with just mud and gunk and, you know, just nastiness. So you got to get all that out. So let me throw it on the tripod and See if we can demo a little of this. See all this black along the edges here, that's where water has gotten up under there. So you want to get as much of that out as you can. All this crud, dirt, get it all ready for a make a good base to start laying up on again. So yeah, you get the point. It's a lot of that. It's monotonous, it's dusty, it's itchy. I'm all covered up because it's windy today, so it's not terrible, but that's the game. Okay, good morning. We are ready to throw some glass down on this hull. Some of these problem areas patched up. First thing I did this morning, oh, it was cold. We just hit 60 degrees. It's almost lunchtime. Stupid January. Anyways, took that tabbing glass, cut a couple 1-inch strips, and those are going to go right down where these old stringers were. Took the remaining 4-inch strip and then another full 6-inch strip. We're going to run that right up that keel part. For these parts that we broke through, got about 8 little circles of 1708 cut out there. A couple little deeper divots. We got 3 or 4 pieces of glass all cut for those. Same thing up here. Got this little spot here on the nose where we started to kind of break through. We had a little crack. So got 1, 2 or 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers, plus then long layers 6, 7, and 8. So 5 of them to go over that little crack there, and then we're going to overlap 3 layers over the whole keel just to beef it up a little more. And for this hole here, same thing, about 6, 7 layers of 1708 cut, little tiny pieces, gradually getting bigger, and then a couple to cover over the whole thing. And then obviously there's going to be a stringer over top of that, and it's all going to be tabbed in. So that's going to have a good amount of glass on top of that. So not worried there. So for under that hole, here's what I did. Took me a piece of duct tape, and I like that Gorilla tape. It's really, really sticky. And I taped a little piece of packing tape, a little square, went up underneath of it and stuck it to the bottom, just so this packing tape will release. It'll leave a nice flat surface on the outside. But this way we're not dripping resin and pushing glass through and having a big mess on the outside of the boat. So anyways, I think we are warm enough to get started. Let's check. Go and grab yourself one of these if you've never had one. A little infrared thermometer. So what are we at? Yeah, we're about 59, 60 degree, 58. Yeah, still pretty cool. Might have to give it a little longer before we can actually get some glass to stick to this. 55 is the bottom this will kick. So we're going to be kicking this resin pretty hard. It's supposed to warm up about 5 more degrees. So I think we're getting pretty close to where we can start. And hopefully we can get this down today. One more thing, if you got a heat gun, you can always hit the area with that. I just went ahead, warmed everything up a little bit. Now we're
See, yeah, doing much better all around there. So ready to go. Go ahead and kick some resin and get to rolling. Okay, we're gonna start with 16 ounces. Get us going. So pint of resin, 10 cc's is gonna be 2%. Again, these little squeezy bottles are worth their weight in gold when doing this. Makes it so easy. Got me a roller, also got a brush. Let's see, got a brush, got the fin roller. I do have a little tub of that's a milled up fibers just in case I need that. Go ahead and start up here on the nose and work my way back. Okay, make sure this is good and stirred up. Don't want to be going through all this and not having your resin mixed. All right, so we are going to start here on the bow, work our way back so we're not tripping over all this resin here. So we'll start right here where this little crack is, and then we'll cover it. We'll do this. Tub of fibers. Just throw a couple little ones in there that I can really press down. Really work down in that crack. There we go. And then we're just gonna go small to big. You can see I'm also kind of overlapping front to back on some of these seams so that we don't have a big hump on one end. Okay, now I'm gonna try and dance our scooch around this, not sliding our feet into it, and start wetting out this whole keel. All right, so now that this polyester resin's breaking down this glass a little bit, you really start to work it in there. Really turning translucent now. You can see any little bits of air have just worked right out of it. Okay, happy with that. So you get a little tricky trying to do this without kneeling in what you're working on. This one I'm working a little more before I put the second layer on, just because it is kind of wedged down in a pretty tight little bend there. Not 90 degrees or anything, so I'm not concerned with it not fitting or trying to lift. I just want to make sure that it's all the way down in there nice. Which it is. Okay, you can see as this starts to break down the binders in here, it's much easier to work. And you can use this brush to just push any little bits of air and extra resin right out. All right, that laid up real nice. It's no air in it. It's glare you're seeing right down the center. So we're in good shape to keep working our way back. All right, I'm happy with that. All went on really well. It looks a little messy. There's some splotches, whatever, but overall the laminate's good, which is what I care about. The rest of it, now that all the little divots and stuff you can see towards the end, I kind of was taking some chop strands and the leftover resin, just kind of fixing a couple little blisters and bubbles I had popped and whatever. So overall, it's pretty good. Let's see what we're up to here. Yeah, it's kicked, and yeah, you can see how you find the hot spots. So let's walk away. Okay, so now that we have some glass down here, I'm gonna fill this trough in. It's a perfect spot for water to collect, and it can't get to the bilge pumps and out. So to do that, got some scraps Kusa board. When I rounded them off with the router, they're about 1.25 inches. So they will fit nicely right down in that trough. I'm gonna putty them in there, press them down. So I just need the shape one for this little end here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just fill them all the way up. Let that cure, sand them smooth. And probably just going to put some putty over these low spots anywhere else still on this hull bottom here. You know, any of these little divots or whatever. Get it smooth, and then I'm going to put a sheet of glass over the whole thing. So not too much to look at, but that's going to do it for the evening. So I ran that Kusa down, batted it in real well, and then went over and just covered it with some putty. And then mixed up another quart or so of it and just smeared it in everything that's a little low. So it looks ugly as can be right now, but trust the process. Once this cures, I'm going to go over it and just sand all the big stuff off. And it's not going to fully cure because it doesn't have any wax in it, but hit it with a grinder. See, I got to level this part out too. This is where that hull comes up. I'll shape that out. So that's all flush, and yeah, do it with the flap disc so it won't gum it up so much. It'll just blast it everywhere and make a little of a mess, but it'll get flat and level, and then I can go ahead and put some glass on it. All right, y'all, I just got super lucky on these outside stringers. Unfortunately, the inside ones were not as kind to me, but I noticed they were so delaminated. I just walked down them with 2 crowbars and literally just popped the glass off, and they were both totally delaminated, and I was able to pull them out pretty much whole. Now, of course, not whole because they're rotted as can be, but the entire bottom is still intact on both of them, even up to the nose here where it has a little indent. Same thing on this port side one. So the plan was start with the inside stringers, but God, I've got as perfect of a template as I can use right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the outside ones, which means that I'm going to cut this glass out, do the same thing where I kind of patch it, fill it, and then the foam fairy showed up the other day, brought me a whole box of core. So I'm going to start cutting these new stringers out. And, well, apologies if you wanted to see that. I really wanted to show it to you, but apparently the technology fairy had other ideas, and I have no idea where those clips went. So, got some B-roll I'm going to throw in here just to show you. Basically, after that part, I went through and I ground down the entire hull bottom flat, removed all that excess putty, got it all smoothed out. Ended up cutting out the outside stringers as well, put a layer of glass over the whole thing, got it good and smooth, and started prepping to put in the new stringers. So that's where the next video is going to come up. It's a good spot to end this one. Thank you as always for those who made it this far. Stay tuned. As you can see, there's a lot's happened. We got quite a stringer grid built. We got floor sitting over there ready to go in. So do the thing, subscribe, like, share, all those things I tell you guys to do every week. 2 weeks, you know, I try whenever I get these videos out. Editing really takes forever. I'd rather be, you know, I have limited time, and it's like I can work on the boat or I can edit videos on the boat. It's like I try to balance it. But anyways, enough of that. I will talk to y'all soon.